You know, sometimes the hardest person to stand up for is the one staring back at you in the mirror. Sometimes we give the world our smiles, our love, our patience, and we leave ourselves empty. We hand out pieces of our soul just hoping someone, anyone, will notice our worth. But listen to me closely now. Until you respect yourself, nobody else will. The truth is brutal, but it's the truth, and you need to hear it. People will treat you exactly how you allow them to. If you don't see yourself as valuable, as worthy, as irreplaceable, they won't either. They'll walk past you like you're invisible. They'll speak to you like you don't matter. And every time you let it happen, you teach them it's okay to disrespect you. But God didn't make you to be overlooked. You weren't created to be somebody's afterthought. You're a masterpiece, not a mistake. And until you start acting like it, until you hold your head high, until you set the standard, this world will keep treating you the way you treat yourself. It's time to change the story. Right now, right here. Because the first person who needs to believe in you is you. When you walk into a room, before you say a single word, people are already feeling the energy you bring. Before you shake a hand, before you crack a smile, they are already measuring who you are by how you carry yourself. You teach people every single day how to treat you, not by what you ask for, but by what you tolerate. If you don't believe you deserve kindness, you'll accept cruelty and call it love. If you don't believe you deserve respect, you'll take disrespect and call it normal. Setting the standard is about deciding, not hoping. Deciding how you will and will not be treated. It's about looking at yourself every morning and reminding your soul that you are not here to be a doormat. You are here to be a doorway to greatness. People only treat you as small as you allow them to. Every time you lower your standard to keep someone in your life, you're telling the world that your worth is negotiable. And trust me, once you start negotiating your worth, you start losing pieces of yourself you may never get back. Set the standard and don't apologize for it. The problem is we keep thinking that if we're just a little more patient, a little more understanding, maybe they'll see our value, maybe they'll treat us better, maybe they'll change. But here's the raw truth. You cannot beg someone to see in you what you refuse to demand from yourself. You cannot sit quietly while people mishandle you and then cry about the pain they caused. No. You have to speak with your energy. You have to carry yourself like someone who knows they are worth protecting, worth loving, worth honoring. Setting the standard is not about being loud or angry. It's about being unwavering. You don't have to shout your worth from the rooftops. Your silence, your calmness, your unwillingness to accept less, that will speak louder than any words ever could. People either rise to meet your standard or they fall away. Either way, you win. Because you're making room for those who will honor what you refuse to let be dishonored. Sometimes you will find that the moment you start setting the standard, people will leave. People you loved, people you thought would be in your life forever. And it will hurt like hell. It will feel like your heart is being torn apart. But I want you to understand something deep in your spirit. If someone leaves because you demanded respect, their leaving is not a loss, it's a blessing. If someone disappears because you refuse to be disrespected, their absence is not a hole, it's a doorway to better relationships, to healthier environments, to a future where you are seen and valued the way you deserve. Don't cry over the people who couldn't handle your standards. Don't mourn the ones who only loved you when you were easy to take advantage of. Stand tall. Smile through the tears if you have to. But don't you dare lower that standard for anybody. You set the tone for how people treat you by how you treat yourself first. If you're constantly criticizing yourself, constantly putting yourself down, constantly belittling your own dreams and worth, then you're laying out a welcome mat for the world to do the same. You have to be the first one to say, I am valuable, I am worthy, I am not disposable. You got to wear it in your walk, in your talk, in your decision. Not just when life is good, but especially when life is hard. Especially when you're lonely. Especially when you're tempted to go back to places and people who disrespected you just because you missed the familiarity. Setting the standard is a daily discipline. It's choosing, even on your worst days, to act like someone who knows they are destined for better. Don't confuse setting the standard with building walls. It's not about keeping people out. It's about protecting the sacred ground within you. It's about guarding your peace like it's treasure, because it is. Your heart, your mind, your energy, they are precious. Stop handing them out to people who have proven they don't know how to handle fragile things. You are not hard to love. You are not asking for too much. You are asking the wrong people. When you set the standard, you stop begging for crumbs and start preparing yourself for the feast. You stop crying at closed doors and start thanking God that they were closed. Every no you give to disrespect is a yes to your destiny. The truth is, when you first start setting the standard, it will be lonely. It will be uncomfortable. You will feel isolated because the old you was easy to please, easy to push around, easy to manipulate. The new you has expectations. The new you demands respect. And that intimidates people who benefited from your low self-esteem. Don't be surprised when the phone stops ringing. Don't be shocked when invitations dry up. Let it happen. It's called pruning. It's called clearing the soil so new healthy things can grow. You cannot build a life of respect surrounded by people who thrive on your self-doubt. So let them leave. Let them misunderstand you. Let them call you selfish. Because at the end of the day, the only thing you're guilty of is finally honoring yourself the way you should have all along. When you start setting the standard, something powerful happens inside you. You stop seeking validation from broken places. You stop needing permission to feel good about yourself. You stop asking people who don't even love themselves to love you properly. You start realizing that the respect you were begging for outside starts growing from the inside. And it shines. It shines through your eyes, through your smile, through the way you carry yourself. People will start to notice the shift. Some will be inspired by it. Others will be threatened. But that's not your concern. Your concern is only to continue walking with your head high, your back straight, and your soul intact. You owe that to yourself. You owe that to the dreams God placed in you. Setting the standard means not explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. It means no longer shrinking yourself so others feel comfortable. It means standing in your full truth, even when your voice shakes, even when your knees wobble, even when your heart aches. Because every time you choose respect over acceptance, dignity over desperation, you become a little stronger. You build a foundation that no storm can tear down. You build a life where your worth isn't dependent on who likes you, who stays, who claps for you. Your worth is rooted deep, planted in a soil that cannot be moved. That is power. And that power is born the moment you say, no more. If you set no standard, the world will set one for you. And trust me, it will be lower than you deserve. Life has a way of pulling you down if you don't decide to rise. You were never meant to be average. You were never meant to just survive. You were born to thrive, to soar, to inspire. But you can't soar while carrying the dead weight of people who don't respect you. You can't fly while you're constantly stitching up the wounds of being mishandled. Setting the standard is saying, I love myself too much to keep bleeding for people who wouldn't even hand me a bandage. It's refusing to sacrifice your peace for temporary companionship. It's knowing that solitude with dignity is better than company with disrespect. And let me tell you something beautiful. Once you fully embrace the standard, once you truly commit to it, life changes. You begin to attract people who see your light without you having to beg them to notice it. You attract opportunities that align with your purpose. You walk into rooms and don't have to fight to be seen because you carry yourself like someone who belongs there. The world starts to reflect back the respect you give yourself. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's the natural law of self-respect. What you embody, you attract. What you tolerate, you invite. So today, right now, this moment, set the standard. Hold it firm. Guard it fiercely. You are worth it. Always have been, always will be. You spend so much time uplifting everybody else. You cheer for them when they win. You wipe their tears when they fall. You show up for their battles. You pour out your love, your encouragement, your faith like it's endless. And yet, when it comes to you, you become your harshest critic. You become your biggest enemy. You speak to yourself in ways you would never dare to speak to someone you love. And that's not okay. That's not fair to the soul God's placed inside you. You deserve the same tenderness. You deserve the same encouragement. You deserve to be your own biggest supporter, your own loudest cheerleader, your own safest home. If you wouldn't call your best friend a failure when they stumble, why do you call yourself one? If you wouldn't tell your child they're unworthy after a mistake, why do you whisper those lies to your own heart? You got to start treating yourself like you matter, because you do. Every dream, every scar, every broken piece trying to heal inside you, it matters. Speak to yourself with the same love you so freely hand to everybody else. Your soul is listening. There's a voice inside you that has been battered for too long. A voice that's been drowned in criticism, choked by doubt, silenced by fear. It's time to change that voice. It's time to breathe life into it again. When you look in the mirror, stop looking for flaws. Stop searching for reasons you're not enough. Start seeing the miracle staring back at you. Start speaking words that heal, not words that harm. Because every time you tear yourself down, you're building walls between you and the life you're meant to live. Every time you diminish your own light, you're teaching yourself to accept darkness. And the world doesn't need another soul walking around defeated. The world needs you fully alive, fully believing, fully walking in the power you were born with. Speaking love to yourself isn't vanity, it's survival. It's how you water the seeds of greatness inside you. Speak love, speak hope, speak patience. Speak as if your life depends on it, because in so many ways it does. You can't keep expecting to bloom while cursing your own roots. You can't expect to rise while chaining yourself down with cruel words. The way you speak to yourself creates the atmosphere you live in. It either builds a prison or a palace. It either suffocates you or sets you free. Every I can't you say is a door you close on yourself. Every I'm worthless is a chain you wrap around your own dream. But every I am enough is a key. Every I am capable is a door creaking open. Every I deserve better is a light switching on in the darkness. Your life bends in the direction of your words. So if you want to move forward, if you want to grow into everything you are destined to be, you have to start speaking like someone who believes it's possible, because it is. You're not too broken. You're not too late. You're not too much. You are right on time, perfectly designed, wonderfully made. Start speaking like it. Start living like it. It's crazy, isn't it? How we will fight for other people's dreams harder than we fight for our own. How we will defend other people's hearts and yet leave our own heart out in the cold. You don't deserve that kind of abandonment. Not even from yourself. You deserve a home within yourself where your spirit can rest. You deserve to be spoken to gently when you're hurting, to be encouraged when you're tired, to be forgiven when you mess up. You have to realize the relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. If you bully yourself, you'll accept bullies around you. If you encourage yourself, you'll attract encouragers. The world reflects how you treat yourself. So take a minute right now, close your eyes, put your hand over your heart, and promise yourself that you will start showing up differently. Promise yourself that the next time you fall, you'll catch yourself instead of kicking yourself. Promise that you'll speak to yourself the way someone who truly loves you would. Every scar you carry is proof that you survived something you weren't sure you could. Every wrinkle in your soul is evidence of battles fought and victories earned. You are not weak because you're healing. You are not broken because you're hurting. You are human. You are trying. And that is something to celebrate. Speak to your wounds with kindness. Speak to your doubts with compassion. You are not your mistake. You are not your failures. You are the strength it took to keep going. You are the hope that refused to die. When you mess up, and you will, because we all do, talk to yourself like you would talk to someone you're proud of, not someone you're disappointed in. Because how you speak to yourself after failure determines whether you stay down or rise up stronger. Be the voice that says, get up, try again. You're still worthy. You cannot shame yourself into greatness. You cannot hate yourself into success. You cannot belittle yourself into becoming more. Growth doesn't come from cruelty. Growth comes from nurturing, from encouragement, from grace. Speak the language of growth to yourself. When you catch yourself falling into old habits of self-criticism, stop, breathe, choose better words. Choose to say, I'm learning instead of I'm failing. Choose to say I'm growing instead of I'm broken. Speak to yourself like someone who expects great things from your life, because greatness is still inside you. Buried under the rubble of doubt maybe, but it's there, waiting. And it needs your words to water it, to pull it into the sunlight. You are one kind word away from a new beginning. Be that kind word for yourself. Every dream you have, every vision you hold close to your heart needs a protector. and you are the first line of defense. If you don't believe in your dreams, who will? If you don't believe in your worth, who will fight for it? You got to stop letting fear hold the microphone in your mind. Fear will always try to shout louder. Doubt will always try to pull you back. But you have the power to change the conversation. You have the power to raise your voice and say, I am more than my fears. I am more than my doubts. I am still chosen. I am still loved. I am still called for something greater. Speak life over your dreams. Speak hope over your journey. Speak destiny over your days. Your future is listening to the words you say today. Make sure it hears something worth running toward. There are going to be days when you feel tired. Days when you feel like giving up. Days when the mirror feels like an enemy and the road ahead feels too long. On those days, your voice matters most. On those days, it's not the cheers from others that will carry you through. It's the quiet whispers you tell yourself in the dark. It's the, I've made it this far, I'm not quitting now. It's the, I may be tired, but I am not done. Be the voice that keeps yourself standing when everything else is trying to push you down. Speak to yourself like survival depends on it, because sometimes it does. Sometimes the only thing separating you from breakthrough is the decision to not give up on yourself. Keep speaking life, even through the tears, even through the silence. At the end of the day, you are the one who has to live with yourself. Not the people who judged you, not the people who doubted you, not the ones who walked away. Just you, your heart, your soul, your mind. So make sure the conversations you have with yourself are conversations you would be proud of. Make sure when you lay your head down at night, you are not sleeping beside a heart you abandoned with cruelty. Make peace with yourself. Make friendship with yourself. Become someone you can trust with your own dreams. Because once you do that, once you truly love yourself at that level, no storm will be able to knock you down for long. You'll bend, sure. You'll sway in the wind, but you won't break. You'll rise again and again, stronger, braver, and more love than you've ever known. There comes a time in your life when you have to stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never built for you. Stop apologizing for having standards. Stop apologizing for having a backbone. Stop apologizing for demanding the respect that should have been freely given from the start. Respect is not arrogance. Respect is not selfishness. Respect is the foundation of every real relationship, every real opportunity, every real connection. And if you have to beg for it, if you have to lower yourself for it, it isn't respect at all. It's pity dressed up like love. And you were never created for pity. You were created to walk with your head high, your spirit strong, and your heart untouchable by the hands of those who never deserved access to it in the first place. You owe nobody an apology for expecting to be treated like you matter. You owe nobody an apology for having expectations. If they can't meet you there, then they don't deserve to sit with you. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. So stop tolerating the bare minimum and calling it loyalty. Stop apologizing. You are not wrong for wanting to be valued. You don't have to feel guilty for outgrowing people who refuse to grow with you. You don't have to feel guilty for wanting more than surface conversations and half-hearted love. You don't have to feel guilty for saying, I deserve more. The right ones will never be intimidated by your standards. They will be inspired by them. The right ones will hear your boundaries and say, thank you for showing me how to love you right. But the wrong ones, the ones who benefited from your silence, from your low self-esteem, from your endless forgiveness without accountability, they will try to guilt you. They will call you difficult. They will call you selfish. Let them. Their opinions were never going to build your destiny anyway. You were not put here to be liked by everyone. You were put here to live boldly, to live truthfully, to live fully. And that kind of life cannot be built on the shaky ground of constant apologies. Speak your truth without trembling. Stand your ground without shame. Demand respect. And if it costs you people who are only pretending to love you, then you just won a battle you didn't even know you were fighting. There's a heaviness that comes from biting your tongue too long, a sickness in the soul from swallowing disrespect just to keep the peace. But peace bought at the price of your self-worth isn't peace at all. It's self-betrayal. And every time you let it slide, every time you excuse the disrespect, every time you say it's okay when your heart is screaming it's not, you are teaching yourself that your voice doesn't matter, that your feelings are too much, that your standards are a burden. But hear me, you are not too much. Your standards are not unreasonable. Your voice is not a nuisance. You have every right to say, I will not accept less than I deserve. You have every right to walk away from anything or anyone that diminishes your light. The world will not hand you respect out of charity. You have to demand it. You have to stand in the fullness of who you are and say, I know my value and I will not settle for anything less than what honors that. And you do it without apology, without explanation, without shrinking. There's a fear deep down that if you raise your standards, you'll end up alone. That if you demand respect, people will leave. And maybe some will. Maybe the ones who never intended to love you properly will walk away. But that's not loss, that's pruning. That's making space for better. That's clearing the ground so real love, real friendships, real opportunities can find you. You're not losing anything that's meant for your destiny when you stand up for yourself. You're losing the dead weight that's been slowing you down. Let it fall away. You don't need a crowd around you to validate your worth. You don't need a million people clapping for you to know you're on the right path. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is standing alone, tall and unshakable, refusing to apologize for wanting what you know you deserve. Because when you stop apologizing for demanding respect, you stop attracting people who only intended to take advantage of your silence. You have to understand, respect is not something you beg for. It's not something you plead for. It's something you embody. It's something you expect without even having to explain yourself. When you carry yourself with dignity, when you speak with clarity, when you walk into a room already knowing your worth, you shift the entire atmosphere. You command a different kind of attention, not the loud, flashy kind, but the steady, undeniable kind. And when people try to test your boundaries, and they will, you don't owe them a lecture. You don't owe them a debate. You owe yourself the strength to walk away without looking back. Respect isn't just what you receive, it's what you radiate. It's what you require. It's what you insist upon, not through force, but through presence. So fix your crown. Straighten your back. Speak with authority. Move with purpose. Stop apologizing for needing what every human being deserves: to be seen, to be heard, to be honored. It's not your job to make other people comfortable with your standards. It's not your job to water yourself down so that people with small minds and smaller hearts can feel big around you. Your job is to rise. Your job is to hold the line even when your hands are shaking. Your job is to honor the calling over your life, even if it means walking paths others don't understand. And along the way, you will intimidate some, you will anger some, you will disappoint some. Let them be angry. Let them misunderstand you. You are not responsible for their inability to meet you where you are. You are only responsible for not betraying yourself on the altar of their approval. Because every time you apologize for needing respect, you chip away at your own power. And the world doesn't need a weaker version of you. The world needs the you who knows you are worthy of respect just by existing, just by breathing, just by being who you are. Somewhere along the way, you learned that keeping the peace was more important than honoring your pain. Somewhere you picked up the lie that your voice wasn't worth raising, that your feelings weren't worth defending. It's time to unlearn all that. It's time to reclaim the ground you gave away trying to be agreeable, trying to be acceptable, trying to be loved. Real love doesn't require you to shrink. Real love doesn't ask you to apologize for existing. Real love meets you at your full height and says, I see you and I honor you. Anything less is not your home. Anything less is not your destiny. So today, make a decision. No more apologies for wanting to be spoken to kindly. No more apologies for requiring accountability. No more apologies for refusing to tolerate disrespect in the name of love. Respect is not a luxury you have to earn. It's a basic necessity. Stop apologizing for needing it. Start expecting it. You have survived too much to betray yourself now. You have cried too many tears, fought too many battles, healed too many wounds to sit at tables where you are an afterthought. You were not born to be tolerated. You were born to be celebrated, to be respected, to be loved with the same intensity you pour into others. And if someone can't rise to that, let them fall away You don't owe anyone an apology for growing. You don't owe anyone an apology for evolving. Growth is uncomfortable for those committed to staying the same. Your respect for yourself will make some people uncomfortable. That's their battle, not yours. Keep rising anyway. Keep speaking anyway. Keep demanding anyway. You're not doing anything wrong by protecting your peace, by defending your dignity, by honoring your worth. You're just finally doing right by yourself. And that is something no apology will ever be necessary for. At the end of your life, you're going to look back, and you will not regret the times you stood tall. You will not regret the moments you chose yourself. You will not regret the boundaries you set, the standards you enforced, the respect you demanded. What you might regret are the times you stayed silent when you should have spoken, the times you apologized when you were the one hurt, the times you settled when your soul was begging you for more. So live now with the kind of courage your future self will thank you for. Speak now with the kind of strength that makes heaven smile. Move now with the kind of self-respect that shifts everything around you. You are not wrong for wanting to be treated with honor. You are not wrong for expecting dignity. You are not wrong for requiring respect. Stop apologizing. Start living. There is a sacred strength in knowing when to walk away. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with dignity so fierce it shakes the ground you step on. When you are not valued, when your heart, your effort, your love, your loyalty are treated like an afterthought, you do not beg for recognition. You do not plead for a seat at a table where you are already seen as disposable. No, you rise. You stand tall in the truth of who you are, and you walk. You walk because you understand that staying where you're not valued is a betrayal of the miracle that is your life. It's not pride, it's not ego, it's self-respect. And if you don't protect your worth, the world will trample it without hesitation. Stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Stop shrinking to make room for those who only want to dim your light. The ones who can't see your value are not your judge. They are not your standard. Walk away, not because you are weak, but because you are finally strong enough to choose yourself. Walk away because your future deserves better than what your past was willing to tolerate. There's a silent suffering that happens when you stay too long where you're not appreciated. It wears on you. It whispers lies into your mind. Tells you that maybe you're asking for too much, maybe you're hard to love, maybe you should settle for crumbs and call it a feast. But deep down, in the quiet moments when you let yourself be honest, you know the truth. You were made for more. You were made for a love that doesn't leave you questioning your own worth every day. You were made for friendships that celebrate you, not use you. You were made for environments that nurture your growth, not stunt your spirit. The longer you stay where you are invisible, the more invisible you become to yourself, and you were never created to disappear. You were created to be seen, to be known, to be honored. So let this be your reminder. You don't have to stay where you are merely tolerated. You can choose to walk away, even if your voice shakes, even if your heart breaks, even if your knees tremble. Choose yourself, choose your peace. Choose your future over the comfort of what's killing your spirit. People who truly value you will never make you question whether you are enough. They won't make you chase them. They won't make you compete for a space in their life. Real love, real loyalty, real respect, it's given freely. It's given gladly. It's given without games. When you are constantly doubting where you stand, constantly fighting to be seen, constantly explaining why you matter, hear me, that is not love. That is not friendship. That is not loyalty. That is emotional starvation disguised as connection. And you cannot thrive where you are starved. You cannot bloom in barren soil. You owe it to yourself to stop pouring into cups that leave you empty. You owe it to yourself to stop waiting for people to change when they have already shown you exactly who they are. It's not your job to fix them. It's not your responsibility to make them see your worth. Your only job is to recognize when your spirit is suffocating and have the courage to walk away before you lose yourself completely. You are worth more than endless explanations. You are worth more than one-sided loyalty. You are worth more than being a second option in someone's life. Sometimes the most painful thing you can do is also the most powerful, and that's to walk away from people you love. It doesn't mean you didn't love them enough. It doesn't mean you gave up too soon. It means you finally loved yourself enough to stop bleeding for people who wouldn't even hand you a bandage. It means you understood that love is not supposed to hurt like that. It means you finally woke up to the truth that you deserve to be a priority, not an option. It's hard. It's heartbreaking. It feels like ripping your own heart out sometimes, but it's necessary. Growth is rarely comfortable. Healing often feels like breaking at first, but trust this. You are not losing by walking away from those who don't see you. You are winning. You are reclaiming your worth. You are taking your power back from places it was never meant to be wasted. And every step you take away from unworthiness is a step closer to the life and the love that you truly deserve. Don't let the fear of loneliness keep you stuck. Freedom often feels lonely at first, but it will teach you a love for yourself that no one can ever take away. You have spent too long convincing yourself that if you loved harder, gave more, forgave faster, they would finally see you. But love doesn't work like that. Respect doesn't work like that. You cannot force someone to value what they don't even have the capacity to recognize. And it's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their blindness. Your worth was never negotiable. It was never up for debate. This was written into your soul the moment you were created. So let them go. Let the ones who couldn't see your value watch you walk away without a second glance. Let them sit in the silence of your absence and realize what they lost when they treated you like you were expendable. You don't have to wish them harm. You don't have to harbor bitterness. You simply have to choose yourself every single day without apology. That's the most powerful thing you can do. That's the real revenge. Building a life so full, so joyful, so radiant, that their memory becomes a distant echo behind the roaring beauty of your present and your future. Your heart is too precious to be placed in the hands of those who play games with it. Your dreams are too big to be tied down by the small minds of those who refuse to grow. Your spirit is too rare to be wasted on those who see you as temporary. When you realize that, you stop waiting for validation from people who can't even validate themselves. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop wasting your energy on proving your worth and instead invest it in building a life that reflects that worth without question. Walking away is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's strength. It's you finally deciding that you will not spend another minute begging for the bare minimum. That you will not spend another day questioning your own reflection because someone else failed to appreciate the masterpiece standing in front of them. You don't need their permission to walk away. You don't need their blessing. You only need your own courage, and you already have it. It's been inside you all along, waiting for the day you would finally say, enough. Every time you accept less than you deserve, you reinforce the lie that you are unworthy of more. Every time you stay where you are not valued, you teach yourself that mistreatment is normal. But hear me, it's not normal. It's not loyalty. It's trauma disguised as loyalty. It's fear disguised as love. And you owe it to yourself to break that cycle. You owe it to yourself to rewrite that cycle. You owe it to yourself to rewrite that story. You are not hard to love. You are not asking for too much. You are asking the wrong people. You are standing in the wrong rooms. You are giving your heart to hands that were never strong enough to hold it, so take it back. Not in bitterness, not in rage, but in reverence. Take it back because your love, your loyalty, your presence are gifts. And they deserve to be treasured, not taken for granted. When you walk away, you send a message to the universe that you are ready for the love, the friendships, the opportunities that match the greatness inside of you. There is something so holy about the moment you decide you are done settling. It's like chains falling off. It's like a caged bird remembering it was always meant to fly. You realize that peace is better than fake loyalty. Solitude is better than half-hearted love. Freedom is better than fitting into spaces too small for your soul. And you start to walk different. You start to talk different. You start to move with a confidence that doesn't need explanation or approval because you finally see yourself clearly, fully, truthfully. And once you see yourself, really see yourself, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to places where you were treated like you were optional. You can't pretend that crumbs are a feast. You can't apologize for choosing better. You simply walk. You move forward. You let go with grace. And you build a life that mirrors the love and respect you have reclaimed for yourself. Your future is not behind you. It is waiting for you on the other side of that walk away. One day you will look back and thank yourself for having the courage to walk away when you were not valued. You will thank yourself for not settling. You will thank yourself for not losing yourself trying to hold on to people who were never meant to stay. And you'll be standing in a life so beautiful, so rich, so full of real love and real respect that you'll wonder why you ever thought you had to beg for it. Walk away when you're not valued. Walk away even when it hurts. Walk away even when it's hard. Because your soul knows what it's worth. Because deep down, you've always known you were made for more. And now it's time to live like it. Self-respect is not something you announce, it's something you embody. It's in the way you walk into a room without needing permission. It's in the way your presence speaks louder than your words. People can feel it without you saying a thing. They can feel the unshakable truth that you know who you are. When you respect yourself, it radiates off you like heat from a fire. You don't have to beg for attention. You don't have to scream for validation. Your spirit announces you before you even open your mouth. There is something about a person who knows their worth that cannot be denied. It commands respect without asking. It demands honor without speaking. It moves hearts without force. That's the magic of self-respect. It makes you unforgettable, undeniable, untouchable. When you carry yourself with self-respect, you set the temperature in every room you walk into. You teach people how to treat you without ever having to raise your voice. You don't chase. You don't beg. You don't lower your standards for the sake of fitting in. You simply are. And that being is powerful enough to either inspire people to rise up or reveal who's not meant to be in your life. When you have self-respect, you stop fighting for spaces that don't fit you. You stop arguing for your worth. You stop shrinking to be accepted. Because when you know what you bring to the table, you don't sit at tables where you have to beg for a seat. You build your own table. You create your own space. You honor yourself enough to walk alone if you must. Knowing that real connection, the kind that sees you, values you, cherishes you, will find you in your fullness. Self-respect makes you magnetic, but not to everyone. It doesn't attract the desperate or the deceitful. It attracts the real ones. The ones who recognize greatness because they've worked for it in themselves too. Self-respect repels the users, the manipulators, the ones who thrive on your insecurity. Because they can't survive in the presence of someone who doesn't need their approval to feel worthy. You owe it to yourself to walk in that kind of confidence. You owe it to yourself to protect that kind of light. Because once you cultivate self-respect, life starts moving differently around you. Blessings find you. Peace surrounds you. And you finally realize you were never missing anything. You just had to remember who you were. There is a peace that comes with self-respect that no relationship, no amount of money, no worldly status can offer you. It's the peace of knowing you don't have to perform to be loved. You don't have to sacrifice your dignity for attention. You don't have to hustle for crumbs of affection. When you respect yourself, you move from a place of abundance, not desperation. You know that if something costs you your self-worth, it's too expensive. If something asks you to betray your soul, it's not worth it. And that peace is priceless. People who truly respect themselves don't need to prove anything to anyone. They don't compete with others. They compete with the best version of themselves. They don't settle for being tolerated. They seek to be celebrated. And in that quiet, powerful posture, they become a force that shifts everything around them. It's not arrogance. It's not ego. It's reverence for the miracle that is your own life. It's honoring the breath in your lungs, the gift of your existence, the sacredness of your dreams. And when you carry yourself with that kind of self-respect, the world can't help but respond. The people who walk with self-respect are not perfect. They're not invincible. They have scars, they have stories, they have battles they've fought silently. But those very wounds have taught them what they will no longer tolerate. Those very failures have built a backbone that refuses to bend for the sake of approval. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every betrayal shaped a deeper knowing inside them. A knowing that says, I will never abandon myself again. Self-respect is forged in the fires of disappointment and resurrected through relentless self-love. It's not given to you. It's something you have to claim for yourself. And once you claim it, you realize you were the treasure all along. You realize you don't need to be chosen by others when you've already chosen yourself. And in that moment, everything changes. You're no longer available for anything that requires you to beg, shrink, or prove. You walk in grace, you move in strength, you shine with a light that no one can take away. Self-respect also shows up in the standards you set and the boundaries you keep. It's not just about how you treat yourself. It's about what you refuse to accept from others. When you have self-respect, you don't entertain disrespect in any form. You don't excuse it. You don't rationalize it. You don't water yourself down for the comfort of others. You hold your ground even when it's uncomfortable. You choose discomfort over disrespect every single time because you know your soul is too expensive to be traded for temporary companionship. You'd rather be alone and whole than surrounded and broken. And when you walk in that kind of unwavering truth, it filters your life in the best way possible. It clears out the users, the liars, the cowards. It leaves room for the loyal, the honest, the brave. Self-respect cleanses your circle and upgrades your destiny. It's a shield and a sword. It's a silent song that says only the real ones are welcome here. And trust me, the real ones will recognize the song you're singing and they'll honor it with the same love you gave yourself first. There's a certain beauty in becoming so rooted in self-respect that external validation loses its power over you. Compliments are nice, but they don't define you. Criticism might sting, but it doesn't break you. You live by an internal compass that points to truth, not trends. You measure your success by your own growth, not by someone else's applause. And that kind of independence terrifies people who only feel worthy when the world claps for them. But it liberates you. It frees you to dream wildly, to love deeply, to live boldly, because you're not anchored to the ever-changing tides of public opinion. You're anchored to something deeper, something unshakable, something eternal. And in that freedom, you find your true voice, your true path, your true tribe. You stop asking, will they like me, and start asking, do I like the life I'm building? That shift is everything. It's the moment you stop surviving and start living. It's the moment you stop existing for approval and start existing for purpose. Self-respect is not about being cold or distant. It's about being whole. It's about being so full of your own truth, your own love, your own purpose that you don't leak your power for anyone. You can still love deeply. You can still be kind. You can still serve and lift others. But you do it from a place of overflow, not depletion. You give because you want to, not because you have to. You love because it's your nature, not because you're trying to earn love in return. And that difference changes everything. Self-respect makes your love richer, not colder. It makes your kindness stronger, not weaker, because it's rooted in strength, not desperation. When you respect yourself, you can pour into others without losing yourself in the process. You can build others up without tearing yourself down. You can be light for others without burning yourself out. That's the real power of self-respect. It makes everything you touch more genuine, more lasting, more beautiful. When you truly carry self-respect, your life becomes a reflection of your inner world. Your relationships become healthier. Your goals become bigger. Your peace becomes deeper because you're no longer willing to entertain what doesn't align with your destiny. You become intentional. You become protective. You become fierce about your purpose. And people feel that. They feel the strength behind your silence. They feel the power behind your patience. They feel the fire behind your smile. You don't have to announce your transformation. It announces itself. You become a living example of what happens when someone decides to honor themselves above all else. And that example will inspire others. It will awaken something in them. It will challenge them to rise higher too. Not because you told them to, but because your life shows them what's possible when you stop settling and start soaring. At the end of the day, self-respect isn't about how loud you are. It's about how loud your life speaks when you walk in the fullness of who you are. It's about how the room shifts when you enter, how the energy rises when you stand tall, how the atmosphere changes when you refuse to shrink. Your self-respect becomes your shield. Your energy becomes your armor. Your spirit becomes your banner, and you realize you never needed anyone to crown you. You were royalty all along. You just had to see it. You just had to believe it. And once you do, nothing and no one can take it away from you. Your aura, built on self-respect, becomes unstoppable, undeniable, and unforgettable. You were not made to blend in. You were not crafted by the hands of the Almighty to live a life of mediocrity. God didn't breathe his breath into you so you can shrink yourself to fit places you were meant to outgrow. You are not an accident. You are not a random event. You are a masterpiece. A deliberate creation with divine fingerprints all over your soul. Every part of you, from your mind to your heart to your gifts, was designed with purpose. You carry the spark of something greater, something eternal. But somewhere along the way, life tried to convince you that being average was safer, that dreaming too big was dangerous, that reaching too high would leave you disappointed. So you started settling. You started hiding. You started believing the lies that told you you weren't special. But deep down, you always knew. Deep down, you could feel it. That restless stirring in your spirit, that fire that refused to die, that whisper that kept saying you were made for more. And I'm here to tell you, that whisper is the truth. That fire is the truth. God didn't make you average. And it's time you stopped living like you are. There's a reason why the road to greatness is narrow. It's because not everyone is willing to believe in who God made them to be. It's easier to stay comfortable. It's easier to stay quiet. It's easier to follow the crowd. But easy was never the calling on your life. You were called to be a light in dark places. You were called to be a warrior in a world that celebrates weakness. You were called to rise when others sit, to fight when others quit, to believe when others doubt. Average is loud. Average is common. Average is everywhere. But greatness, real greatness, is rare. It's found in the ones who refuse to give up on themselves, even when the world gives up on them. It's found in the ones who carry faith like armor, who wear resilience like a crown. When you remember that God didn't make you average, you stop trying to fit into spaces you've outgrown. You stop apologizing for your dreams. You stop lowering your light to make others comfortable. Because you realize it was never your job to be liked. It was your job to be who He created you to be. You need to understand that your gifts, your talents, your very existence are evidence that you were made for something bigger. You were not just meant to wake up, work, pay bills, and die. You were meant to build, to create, to heal, to inspire, to lead. There is a power inside you that is untapped, a greatness you have barely scratched the surface of. But it requires something from you. It requires that you stop playing small. It requires that you stop doubting the very God who breathed life into your bones. You have to be bold enough to believe that you are chosen for a reason. You have to trust that your life has meaning, even when you can't see the full picture yet. Faith is not always about knowing. Sometimes it's about moving, even when you don't. Sometimes it's about stepping forward, even when the ground looks shaky. You have to act like you're chosen before you feel chosen. You have to walk like you're called before you feel qualified. Because the truth is, God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And you, my friend, have been called for greatness. Every time you shrink yourself, every time you downplay your gifts, every time you tell yourself, maybe I'm not good enough, you are insulting the one who made you. You are questioning the wisdom of the Creator Himself. Do you think He made a mistake when He formed you? Do you think He misplaced your gifts? Do you think He forgot to give you enough? No. He made you complete. He made you enough. He made you powerful beyond measure. But He also gave you free will, the choice to either believe in that power or to bury it. You have a choice every single day to either step into the greatness God placed inside you or to settle for the mediocre life the world tries to hand you. You were born with wings, but it's up to you whether you stay in the nest. It's up to you whether you believe you can fly. And let me tell you, the world needs you to fly. The world needs your light. The world needs your voice. Don't you dare go to your grave with your song still inside you. There is a difference between humility and self-doubt. God called you to be humble, not invisible. He called you to serve, not to surrender your dreams. There is nothing holy about playing small. There is nothing righteous about hiding your light. True humility is recognizing that your gifts come from God and honoring Him by using them boldly. It's standing tall and saying, I know who made me, and I will not apologize for what He placed inside me. You are not honoring God when you shrink. You are honoring Him when you stand, when you shine, when you run your race without fear. The enemy wants you to believe that you're not enough, so you'll never even try. But God wants you to know that you are more than enough, and that through Him, you are unstoppable. You have everything you need to fulfill the calling on your life. You are equipped. You are prepared. You are anointed. But you have to believe it. You have to walk like it. You have to live like it. Correct? Remember, the enemy isn't threatened by average. He isn't worried about people who settle. He's worried about the ones who wake up to who they really are. He's terrified of the ones who realize that greatness isn't just for a select few. It's for anyone bold enough to believe they were made for it. You were born with a calling that scares hell itself. That's why life tries so hard to break you. That's why people tried to tear you down. That's why fear tried to paralyze you. Because if you ever fully realize who you are in God's eyes, you become unstoppable. You become a threat to every chain, every curse, every limitation that ever tried to hold you back. You become a living testimony that God's power is real, that his purpose is real, that his favor is real. And that's why you can't afford to stay stuck. That's why you can't afford to settle. You were not made for survival. You were made for victory. You need to start seeing yourself the way heaven sees you. You are not weak. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not forgotten. You are a warrior. You are a king. You are a queen. You are a child of the Most High. And the blood that runs through your spirit is royalty. Start carrying yourself like it. Start speaking over yourself like it. Stop entertaining thoughts that belittle your destiny. Stop allowing fear to have the final word. Fear is a liar. Doubt is a thief. Shame is a chain. And you have the keys to break free. You have the authority to silence every voice that says you are anything less than chosen. God did not bring you this far to leave you. He did not invest his love, his grace, his mercy into you so you could die in doubt. Rise up. Stand tall. Move forward. Your destiny is waiting for you to remember who you are. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling defeated, it's not because you're not capable. It's because you've forgotten who walks with you. It's because you've forgotten that the one who created the mountains also created you. And if he can move them, he can move you too. God's plans for you are bigger than your past, bigger than your mistakes, bigger than your fears. His plans are for hope, for a future, for impact. But they require your agreement. They require your yes. Not a hesitant yes, not a fearful yes, a bold yes. A yes that says, even if I'm scared, I will still move. A yes that says, even if I don't see the whole path, I will still trust. A yes that says, even if they don't believe in me, I will still believe in the one who sent me. That kind of yes unlocks miracles. That kind of yes shifts atmospheres. That kind of yes changes generations. Your yes matters more than you know. You were born with greatness inside you, not because of what you have done, but because of who your Father is. You are an heir to promises bigger than your dreams. You are a vessel for love wider than your fears. You are a warrior for a kingdom that cannot be shaken. So walk like it. Live like it. Remember it when life gets heavy. Remember it when the voices of doubt get loud. Remember it when you feel alone. God didn't make you average. He made you extraordinary. He made you resilient. He made you destined. And every day you wake up breathing is another day to step into the power of who you were created to be. Don't waste another minute believing lies that say otherwise. Don't waste another second playing small. The world needs your light. Heaven is cheering you on, and the only thing left is for you to believe it too. And move like you know you were made for more. Everything we talked about today leads to one truth. You were never made to live a life of mediocrity. You were never meant to doubt your own worth, question your own voice, or shrink yourself to fit into spaces you were designed to outgrow. From the moment you were formed, there was greatness woven into your DNA. Every gift, every dream, every ounce of resilience you carry is proof that God had a plan for you far bigger than anything this world could ever offer. It's easy to forget who you are when life tries to dim your light. But even in your darkest seasons, the fire within you never went out. Even when you were overlooked, even when you were doubted, even when you doubted yourself, that purpose still burned quietly inside you, waiting for the day you would rise up and claim it. Self-respect is not optional for you anymore. It's necessary. It's the foundation upon which you will rebuild, realign, and reawaken the life you are meant to live. Every time you speak to yourself with love, every time you demand respect without apology, every time you walk away from spaces that don't value you, you are honoring the masterpiece that God created. You are teaching the world how to treat you by how you treat yourself. And when you stand firmly in who you are, when you stop accepting less, you don't just change your own life, you give silent permission to others to do the same. Your life becomes a living testimony that healing is possible, that faith is powerful, that self-worth is not arrogance, but obedience to the truth of who you were made to be. You carry an aura that can shift rooms. You have a light that can break through even the heaviest darkness. But it only shines when you stop asking for permission to be who you already are. It only shines when you walk boldly in your calling, without shrinking, without doubting, without apologizing for taking up the space you were born to fill. You don't owe the world your silence. You owe the one who made you your fullest, loudest, brightest self. Stop waiting for validation from places that were never meant to hold your destiny. Stop handing your crown to people who don't even know how to recognize royalty. You were made in the image of greatness, and that greatness still lives in you, even now. Today, let this be the day you draw the line in the sand. No more shrinking, no more apologizing, no more second guessing. You are not average. You are not ordinary. You are chosen, equipped, and destined for a life that leaves a mark, a life that echoes far beyond your time here. Step into it with fire in your spirit and gratitude in your heart. Know that as you honor yourself, you honor the one who crafted you so carefully, and trust that when you respect yourself, the world will have no choice but to follow your lead. Thank you for giving me your time, your heart, and your spirit today. May you rise higher than you ever imagined. May you walk boldly into every room knowing you belong there. God bless you, keep you, and guide you every step of the way. Thank you. God bless.